I have before me Mr. Matalese Abednego Croma. Mr. Croma, you're before the court on 2021 CR 03992 and 2021 CR 03994 for driving on a suspended or revoked license 2 times. You were before this court and took a plea on the 29th day of September 2022, sentenced to 12 months on probation. You have 2 months and 23 days remaining. The sentence was told, and this is your second revocation. So you failed to report on June 26th of 2023. You failed to complete the community service. Your hours were commuted to community service, 145 hours of community service. You failed to pay, and you're $912 in arrears. So, Mr. Lynch, why hasn't Mr. Croma been able to do what I asked him to do?
I'll let Mr. Croma explain that in his own words at this point.
Okay. Well, when I was doing about the paying part, I had got into an accident, so that's why they had tried to switch over to the community service. Right, I got into an accident, so I wasn't working at the time. So then, when I was doing the community service, I was trying to do one like closer to where I lived at. He was saying come out here, but I didn't have no transportation to really come out here that early. So I was trying to do community service closer to where I lived at. So he put in for like a revocation hearing, but he told me to do the community service however much I was able to accumulate by the time I came to court. So that's what I did. But then when I came to court, I was like late. I was late for court, and then I never saw nobody. That was the last that I had heard from. I had did probably like 40.
Mr. Croma, how many hours of community service did you do, sir?
I probably did like 40 some hours at Brady Gym back then.
Brady Jail?
Brady Gym. College Park community, like the community center in College Park.
Okay, and you don't have the paperwork or anything?
No, I had it the day when I came to court. I had it.
But Mr. Croma, here's the problem, sir. We've been dealing with this case since 2022. In all of that time, you could have made some money. You could have worked side jobs and made the amount of money necessary to pay what we asked you to pay. You could have actually been doing your community service since I changed it to 140 hours of community service, and you could have been done. I don't understand why folk won't just, you know, my husband has this saying, and he says it all the time, it drives me nuts, but he was like, I got to get it done. I got to get it done. Y'all don't want to get anything done. It's like you okay with the threat of jail hanging over your head, but if jail was hanging over my head, the first thing I would do is my 145 hours of community service. And I told you, I don't care where you do it. I didn't ask you to come back to Clayton County to do it. I've never done that. I've always said to people, do the community service where it's close to you or convenient to you, where you're going to get it done. My priority is that you get it done, not that you do it in Clayton County.
Yeah, but my PO, he wasn't allowing me to do it anywhere at first.
Your PO will take whatever I say he will take. And I'm not down in Mr. Carmichael because he's amazing. But what I'm saying to you is you're making excuses. If you brought in hours here from the nonprofit down the street from your house, if you lived in Timbuktu and they could certify that it was a certified nonprofit, I would take the hours. So what I'm saying to you is don't make excuses, Mr. Croma. You're making excuses. How old are you?
37.
Mr. Croma, first of all, let's talk about the fact that you had 2 back-to-back driving on a suspended or revoked license, which means that you either didn't show up for court or you're not paying child support. Those are the 2 main reasons that they will take your license. So which one is it?
It was child support.
Okay. So that right there tells me you ain't doing what you're supposed to do because you got kids out there that you're not supporting. And then I can see why you're not supporting them. You're not even doing probation. When I didn't say, give me money, I said, give me time. You're not doing anything you're supposed to do, Mr. Croma. You're 37 years old and you're acting like a teenager. They're supposed to be irresponsible. You, sir, are not. Get it together. You brought kids into this world and you just slacking. Just slacking. If this is what you are teaching them, they're going to end up in an orange jumpsuit. This ain't a murder charge. This is driving on a suspended or revoked license. We're asking for money or time. You can't give me either. Neither one. You are being trifling, as the old people would say. Not doing what you need to do, lazy, and not working like you should be working. Sir, if you are a parent in this world, your children deserve better than to have somebody who can't even get probation done. Because I know if you're not doing probation because you failed, you got the probation because you failed to pay your child support. So I know if you can't get some community service hours done in probation, I know you're not doing nothing for them. Get it together. Man up. I know folk with 2 and 3 and 4 jobs out here just working. I know people who started with a lawnmower doing people's lawns and now they got a 0-turn motor and a truck because they have worked themselves into that. But you sitting here giving me excuses. Well, see, what had happened was, well, I couldn't do it, and my PO wouldn't want me to do it outside of Clayton County because all crazy, just crazy. Get it together. You are 37 years old. Before you know it, you'll be 55. And you know what? You won't have nothing. You won't even have kids who want to spend time with you because you ain't doing nothing for them. So get it together, sir. What's the recommendation, Mr. Carmichael?
Probation recommends serve 30 days, credit for time served, closed case.
All right, Mr. Lynch?
Judge, from speaking to my client, he does currently have employment. He works for the Amazon. He works with the Amazon Distribution Center. I'm sorry, Google Distribution Center. And Judge, we would ask that you sentence him to 20 days, credit for time served, close the case. I think that would be, in terms of a driving on a suspended license case, I think 10 days per case would be a reasonable.
Yeah, it would be, except he hasn't, this is his second revocation, Mr. Lynch, his second one, which means that I've already given him another chance and he blew it. And Mr. Lynch, let you in on a little secret. He ain't helping his kids. So why should I care what he's doing? If he was applying and helping his kids, maybe that would help me. But he ain't helping them.
Can I say something about that, Your Honor?
Yes, please, sir.
Because, like you saying, what I ain't doing with my kids, I got put on child support like 6 years later from a child that I didn't even know that was mine, that I never even took a test for. I got put on child support because I didn't go to court to take the test during COVID because I didn't have no ID. But they just still put me on child support. Said by me not going to court, it was like I waived my rights. So now
you did.
Yeah, but I didn't know that. So then it had all that back child support. That's what ended up suspending my license.
Mr. Chroma, you didn't go to court. You just should have put a mask on and gone to court. Why would you ignore court because you didn't have a ID? You could have shown up and told them who you were.
At that time, that was my first time dealing with it, but they just automatically put me on child support for a child.
So you just thought if you didn't go, they weren't gonna do anything.
I got to go to court on the 10th of this month to get them to do a DNA test for the child. But I still been on child support all these years for a child. I don't even know if he's mine or not.
Mr. Chroma, you could have asked for a DNA test years ago.
Yep, and every time I asked the woman for a DNA test, because the court said I had to go through the woman now, since I didn't make it to the court. Every time I asked the woman for a DNA test, she disappeared. So now I finally been able to get it where the court is gonna do it for me. I had to go through a program with the court. So now on the 10th, I gotta go and do it.
Which court, Mr.? Which court? City of Atlanta?
Yeah, City of Atlanta. I gotta go do a legitimized and they said through that, they're gonna do the DNA test.
All right, Mr. Chroma, I'll give you 20 days credit for time served. Balance will be suspended and case closed. But sir, let me tell you something. Whether you are this child's father or not, certain things you don't do. You don't ignore court notices. They're not going to just drop it because you don't show up. That just means you don't care enough to show up, and they're going to do what they want to do. We clear? If
Yes.
this is your child, then at some point you agreed to lay down with the person and make a baby. So be a dad. Try and be a force of good in this child's life.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
third, okay, start getting yourself together. Because even though you got a job at the Amazon distribution center, that wasn't helping you in this situation because you wasn't doing anything to pay your way out of what was essentially fines and fees. You have worked a case that was, okay, pay your fines and fees, and I'm just giving you extra time to do it, into 2 appearances before the court, 2 times you've been arrested for probation violation, and even now 30 days because you haven't done anything. Every time you turn around, you got an excuse for something. Well, I didn't go to court and they put the child support on me. No, I didn't go to court. And so the court did what they do, which was to grant a default because I didn't go to contest it and say this child might not be mine. Stop letting stuff happen to you. All right, you can go back to the sheriff's office.